This time, we're taking a look at something really cool, AI and animation.
Oh, yeah. This is really cutting-edge stuff.
You sent in a research paper, and it's about a new technique for generating realistic 3D facial animation using only audio.
It's pretty wild.
Yeah. Just sound waves can now make a digital face move, in real time with amazingly lifelike results.
And I think what's really captivating about this technology is how it could revolutionize fields like video games and animation. Imagine a world where every character can be expressive.
Yeah, give a voice to the voiceless. But we're used to seeing those amazing facial expressions from big budget movies using motion capture suits.
Oh, yeah, tons of post-production.
Right.
And that's why this is so groundbreaking.
So how does it work?
Well, this research introduces a deep neural network that learns to map audio waveforms to 3D facial movements.
So it's like teaching AI to lip read.
Yeah, but it's not just understanding the words.
Yeah.
It's capturing the subtle expressions that make a face come alive.
So how do they teach AI to do that?
Well, it starts with high-quality motion capture data from a human actor.
Okay.
They need about 3 to 5 minutes of footage, and that includes things like pangrams, sentences designed to hit a wide range of sounds in character footage.
Oh, so they're giving the AI a foundation.
Exactly.
A vocabulary to draw from.
Yeah, and that's what's clever, because even if the AI makes some mistakes, the animation should still feel consistent with the character.
Right.
It's like providing the AI with a personality blueprint.
Oh, that's cool. Now, on the audio side, the AI focuses on formants.
Yeah.
Which are resonant frequencies that reveal a lot about the sounds we make.
You got it.
Formants, that sounds a bit technical.
Yeah, they are, but think of them as the unique acoustic signature of each sound.
Okay.
These formants help the AI generalize across different speakers and even accents.
Oh, so it's not limited to animating just one specific voice?
No, it's not. It can work for any voice, any language.
Wow. But how does it handle the emotional aspect? Our faces convey so much more than just the words we're saying.
Right. Well, the AI doesn't rely on predefined emotional labels like happy or sad.
Right.
It actually learns a separate emotion database from the variations in the motion capture data.
Interesting.
This allows the AI to identify subtle expressions and movements that aren't directly tied to the spoken audio.
So instead of just matching sounds to mouth shapes, it's learning to read between the lines.
Exactly.
That's some next-level AI.
It is quite remarkable, and it discovers its own emotion vectors based on the training data.
Emotion vectors.
Yeah. Think of these emotion vectors as coordinates on a map of facial expressions.
Okay.
And by manipulating these vectors, animators can fine-tune expressions and create truly unique performances.
That opens up a world of creative possibilities.
It does.
Imagine being able to subtly shift a character's expression to convey doubt or suspicion or even a hint of mischief.
Yeah, all while staying true to the audio performance.
So we've seen the what and the why, but now I'm itching to understand the how.
Okay, let's get into it.
I'm particularly interested in those challenges they faced. Mapping audio to facial movements can't be easy.
Oh yeah, there are definitely challenges.
What was the biggest one?
One of the biggest ones is the ambiguity in facial expressions.
Yeah.
The same sound can be produced with a variety of different facial movements.
Right.
And that makes it tricky to train the AI to be both accurate and expressive.
Like how a simple hello can sound friendly or sarcastic or even threatening depending on the expression.
Exactly.
How did they overcome that?
Well, it all comes down to how they train the AI. Remember those formants we talked about?
Yeah.
The researchers used a special technique called an autocorrelation layer to really analyze the audio.
Autocorrelation layer. Okay, I vaguely remember that, but that section of the paper got a little bit complex for me.
Yeah, it's pretty complex stuff. Just think of it as a special listening device for the AI.
Yeah.
It doesn't just hear the sounds, it analyzes how those sounds connect over time, like a fingerprint for each word.
So it's picking up on things like intonation and emphasis, which are so crucial for conveying emotion and meaning.
That's exactly why it's so important for facial animation. Capturing those subtle variations is what allows the AI to create expressive facial movements. It's not just lip syncing, it's about conveying those emotional nuances.
Gotcha. And then they also talk about a mining process for these emotion vectors. What were they mining for?
Well, not all emotion vectors are created equal. Some work great with the original training data, but then they completely fall apart when you try to apply them to new audio. So the mining process is all about finding the emotion vectors that consistently produce good results no matter what you throw at them.
So it's like sifting through a mountain of data to find those golden nuggets.
Exactly. It's a very Meticulous
It
process.
sounds like a painstaking process.
Oh, it was a three-step process. First, they focused on the mouth movements.
Okay.
And they would test each vector with audio clips that should clearly open or close the mouth, like certain vowels and consonants.
Makes sense.
And if the mouth wasn't moving correctly, they knew that vector was no good.
Okay, so you can't have believable facial expressions without a mouth that's moving.
Right. And then the second step was all about fluidity. They would watch the animations generated by each vector with longer audio tracks, and they'd be looking for smooth, natural movements.
So any jerky motions or unnatural pauses, and that vector was out?
That's right. And finally, they tested these vectors on audio from a completely different speaker just to see if those results held up.
So they were looking for vectors that could work with any voice.
Exactly. Not just the voice of the original actor.
It's attention to detail.
It is, they went above and beyond to ensure that the AI's performance was really top-notch.
So after all that testing, they were left with a smaller set of emotion vectors that could produce consistently good results.
Right. And then they even added labels to these vectors. Things like neutral, surprised, or amused to make them easier for animators to work with.
So it's like they created a dictionary to translate the AI's own language into something we can understand.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it.
But the mining process wasn't the only hurdle they faced. Remember how we were talking about the temporal stability issue?
Oh, yeah.
Getting that animation to flow smoothly, especially with fast-moving parts like the mouth.
Extremely challenging.
I can imagine a slight hiccup in the timing could throw the whole thing off.
It could. How did they address that?
Yeah.
Well, they used a combination of really clever techniques. One was to incorporate a motion term into their loss function. So this essentially penalized the AI for generating jerky or unnatural movements, and it encouraged it to create smooth transitions between poses.
Okay, so it's like a digital choreographer.
Yeah, exactly. And then they also used a technique called time shifting during training.
Time shifting? Are we talking about time travel here?
Not quite. They just offset the audio and animation slightly during training. This helped the AI learn to predict movements more accurately, even when the audio and animation weren't perfectly aligned.
Oh, so it's like they were giving the AI a little bit of wiggle room to account for those real-world imperfections.
Exactly. And then they also used a technique called ensembling.
Ensembling?
Yeah. Essentially, they averaged the AI's predictions made a few milliseconds apart.
So it's like taking multiple votes from the AI.
Yeah, to smooth out those jitters.
But one question that popped into my head is, what about animating different characters?
Yeah.
They trained this AI on data from a specific actor.
Yeah, you're right.
So if you want to animate a different character with a completely different face, do you have to start the whole training process all over again?
Well, you would think so. But the researchers found a way around that they can actually transfer the animation to a different face using a technique called deformation transfer.
Oh, so it's like taking the AI's knowledge of facial movements and mapping it onto a brand new character model that's pretty efficient.
Yeah, it is. They really thought of everything.
Yeah, they've tackled the ambiguity, the temporal stability, and now they've solved the character transfer problem. This AI is starting to sound almost too good to be true.
Well, the results speak for themselves. They actually conducted user studies to compare their AI to traditional performance capture and the industry standard dominance model technique.
Okay, lay it on me. How did the AI stack up against the competition?
Their AI consistently outperformed the dominance model. And get this, in some cases, it even came close to the realism of motion capture.
Whoa, hold on, really? Especially considering it's only using a few minutes of training data compared to the hours and hours required for those traditional methods. How did they even measure the realism? Was it just a subjective judgment call?
Not at all. They used blind user studies where participants were shown animations created by all the different methods and then asked to rate them based on how natural they looked.
Oh, so it wasn't just the researchers saying, hey, our AI looks great.
Nope, they had independent people judging the results.
Wow, and the AI still came out on top? That's impressive. Do you have any numbers from those studies?
In one study, their AI won 87% of the comparisons against the dominance model.
Okay, color me impressed. What about the comparisons to motion capture? How did it fare against the gold standard?
As you might expect, motion capture generally received higher ratings, but the AI wasn't far behind. And in one particular clip, the AI's performance was practically indistinguishable from the motion capture. It even fooled some of the participants.
That's wild. Any idea why the AI performed so well in that specific instance?
It seems like there might have been some subtle issues with the motion capture data itself, which inadvertently made the AI look even better in comparison.
Wow, so it's like it surpassed the gold standard.
Yeah, it's really remarkable what they accomplished.
It really makes you wonder, what does this mean for the future of animation? Are we on the verge of seeing digital actors replacing real ones?
That's a question that sparks a lot of debate. While this technology has the potential to create incredibly realistic and affordable digital characters, I don't think it will replace human actors entirely, at least not anytime soon.
Right, there's a certain magic to a human performance that's hard to replicate.
Exactly. Yeah. But I do think we'll see this AI used to enhance and augment human performances in a lot of ways.
Okay, I can see that happening.
Like imagine using it to create more lifelike game characters or generate realistic facial expressions for virtual avatars, or even helping animators streamline their workflow.
So it's more like a powerful new tool in the animator's toolbox.
Exactly, and one that could make animation more accessible to smaller studios or independent creators.
That's really cool. It could lead to a surge of creativity and innovation.
It could, and it's not just limited to entertainment. This technology could revolutionize things like telepresence, virtual reality, even education.
Yeah, imagine a world where virtual teachers can express emotions and respond to students with the same nuance and subtlety as a real person. The possibilities really are endless.
They are.
This has been an incredible deep dive into the world of AI and facial animation. We've gone from those complex technical details to the mind-blowing applications, and it's really got me thinking about the future.
It's been a pleasure exploring this research with you.
And to our listeners, if you're as fascinated by this technology as we are, be sure to check out the full research paper. We'll include a link in the show notes. And as always, thanks for joining us on the deep dive, and we'll see you next time.